of Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Ankle, can you tell us?
Lower leg. I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to throw out exactly what it is, but I just play one on TV. But no, lower leg, he'll be fine for training camp, and it was really good because it's a true test for a young player when you do suffer an injury, a setback, not letting it affect you in the meeting room. He's still dialed in front and center every day.
Judd, you can appreciate the hockey-like injury classification there, right?
I did, but I just want to know, are you saying that on purpose? Can we get a little bit more? What happened? Can we get a play-by-play? As Doogie knows, you're always looking for the next step. You're looking for the next, how far can we go?
I'm also glad that he clarified, listen, the non-serious lower leg injury isn't preventing Ihmir Smith-Marsette from being engaged in the meeting rooms. So, God.
I can't do it. I got to stay home.
God.
We got him a scooter. It's a very nice scooter. He's really enjoying the scooter.
This is Reckless Speculation Thursday to all who celebrate here on Mackey and Judd, which means we bring in our friend. He is from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department and the Scoop Podcast. Inside information about your favorite Minnesota sports teams. Darren Doogie Wolfson. What's up, dude?
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Reckless Speculation Thursday. Would you believe this? 25 years ago, at about this moment, 25 years ago at 10:15 in the morning, so that would have been, 1997, June 2nd, 1997, I can promise you I was above .1, even though I was only 17 years old. So last night, 25 years ago, I graduated high school. We had an all-night party at Henry Sibley High School, now Two Rivers High School. Don't get me going on that. In Mendota Heights. Party ends at about 5 a.m. We hop in multiple cars, head up to a cabin of a friend.
Is this last night?
No. This is 25 years ago. No, that was back in my partying prime days. Phil, last night I was in bed. Well, no, I was here until about 10:15 working on some Marion Barber III stuff, which we'll get to at some point. But then I got home and I watched, what did I watch? I watched the end of a baseball game. I can't even remember what the heck game I was watching. Rays Rangers. That's what I was watching. Rays won that game. Former Twin Matt Whistler, the save.
Yeah. Matt Whistler.
And I went to bed. That's how boring my night was last night. But 25 years ago, at about 10:15 in the morning, June 2nd, 1997, I was pounding beers. So we hopped in the car, multiple cars, headed up to a friend's cabin about 2 hours away. So we probably got to the cabin 8:30 a.m. I'm telling you, at about 10:15 in the morning on June 2nd, 1997. I'm
trying to do math on this. I feel like I don't feel like the age works out here, but it had statute.
I graduated high school at 17 years old.
Okay.
So I graduated high school June 1st, 1997.
You did?
Today would be June 2nd, 2022.
Accelerated program?
So 25 years ago. No, it's a cutoff date thing. I was born in Philadelphia, moved here after second grade. No, I'm not that smart. Trust me, if I was that smart, would I be talking to you guys right now?
No.
I'd be performing some sort of surgery. I'd be in some courtroom.
Did you start interning at KFAN before you graduated high school?
I did. Yeah, so I started there, when I was 16. So I turned 17 January of 1997.
Yeah,
I started at the Fan. It would have been the winter, just a little bit before then. So like October, November-ish of 1996.
The Doogie Howser of Minnesota sports.
That's how he became
information.
Doogie.
Yep. It all ties together. So, all right, so Doogie Howser of Minnesota sports. There's the backstory. Give us as many Vikings updates from OTAs, injury updates. Empty the Vikings bag here for us, Dukes.
All right, well, here we go. On Ihmir Smith-Marsette, he actually has a cast on the injured foot. I am told the cast can come off very, very soon, like maybe as soon as today, if not today, early next week. I take Kevin O'Connell at face value, even though we always ask ourselves, Journalism 101, why is this person lying to me? Unless there's some sort of setback between now and training camp, Ihmir Smith-Marsette will be fine come late July. No reason to have him ramp up next week, mandatory minicamp Tuesday through Thursday. So I don't presume that we'll see him on the field next week, but the foot will be fine. Za'Darius Smith should be back as soon as today or tomorrow. I'm told he just slept wrong. I don't have the specific injury.
Oh.
But he slept awkwardly.
Been there.
Woke up, didn't feel right. That's why he wasn't on the field
I
on
don't like
Wednesday.
that. Yeah. I don't like that.
We're trying to get 17 games out of these guys.
Daniil Hunter slept wrong.
Yeah, isn't that what happened with Daniil?
It started with Daniil. He slept wrong.
Okay, can we
did.
get these guys?
Yeah.
It doesn't Sleep Number sponsor the Vikings? Can we get
They
these
do.
guys
Yeah.
some Contour pillows and some Sleep Number beds? You slept wrong? What are you, 90? I mean, I
That's
guess
the worst.
Za'Darius
That's what I was
Smith's
told.
body might be 90, but
I have a new Casper mattress that arrives today. I'm excited to sleep on it. We'll see how that
Oh,
goes.
just don't
Then
sleep
I
wrong.
will. Then I will not sleep wrong.
We
That's
could
what
go
I'm
for a
looking
new
forward to.
mattress at the
There we
Wolfson
go.
house. Yeah.
This-
You'll have to tell
interesting.
me about that
Okay.
Declan off mic. Yeah. So anyway, Za'Darius Smith should be okay. We don't have access until next Tuesday, but they have OTAs today, tomorrow. I imagine if I check, I'll have heard that he'll have been on the field at some point before the week is over. Linval Joseph, former Vikings defensive tackle. He had on his Instagram story on Wednesday a picture of him. Well, it wasn't him. It was a picture of TCO Performance Center, but him right on the campus of, the Vikings practice facility there in Eagan. It got people wondering, is he visiting? What is taking place? Well, it turns out he actually lives here. His daughter goes to high school over in that neck of the woods. I don't need to mention the high school, but a private high school in that neck of the woods.
Two Rivers.
So he was working out at Training House. So the training facility that's next to TCO Performance Center. So Linval hoping to get back in the league. The elbow is still an issue, but Linval tweeting that photo of TCO Performance Center in the background has nothing to do with the Vikings.
I've seen Linval. It wasn't there last night, but I've seen Linval at Red Cow numerous times in the North Loop within
I bet
the
that
last
guy
year.
pounds a 60-40
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh.
A couple.
A scoop to the scoop.
A couple?
Yeah. A scoop to the scoop.
Oh, that would be multiple.
Red cow.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think more than
Joseph.
couple.
And,
And
and
we're
you
talking
know what?
shuffle
I don't
fries.
blame
Wants
him one
to.
bit, man.
Had
That
the
red
nose last
cow,
night.
red rabbit.
Get it, baby.
Rock solid.
So, okay, so so those are kind of the injury updates. This feels like a honeymoon period. Adam Thielen made the appearance on the Pat McAfee show a couple days ago. It's the most, Thielen has looked kind of downtrodden off and on, I would say more often than not, the last couple of years under Mike Zimmer. And my God, that was a new man. He looked like he had regressed in age by 5 years. He's holding up the McAfee jersey. He's talking about how rejuvenating, that's the word he used, Kevin O'Connell has been installing this offense. And so, what is your sense, Doogie, just talking to people in and around the team? Does this feel like a rejuvenation so far in the first portion of the offseason?
It does. I mean, it's almost got this kumbaya feel over there. But let's circle back to this conversation on September 20th. If they go loss against Packers, loss Monday Night Football against Philadelphia, right? Then things could change. But right now, yes, lots of synergy, lots of positivity. I haven't heard anything bad. So, yes, right now, things are really, really good. I imagine early in training camp, things will be good. Then we'll hit the dog days of training camp. Guys, will show some angst and show some frustration. But by that first preseason game, it'll ramp back up. It'll ramp up again as we head into September 11th. But I'm just saying, let's circle back after some adversity hits, because it will at some point. So let's see how they react after that.
Yeah, and that's true of, I've told people who work for the team during these open practices, man, this feels great around here. Because last July, it felt terrible. Like, it was stifling. It was so bad. And their exact words are, Judd, we haven't lost a game yet. So, that's the internal thing, too, because everyone, it's a breath of fresh air. They're working hard, but I think they're enjoying it now, where with Mike, they definitely weren't. And you know what? That had, again, to be very clear here, run its course. Like that, Mike had not become a terrible guy. It had just become an intolerable situation. But I mean, people with the team, Phil, are aware of, okay, we still don't know, and you don't know what Kevin O'Connell is going to be like when we lose a tough game. And so I find that an intriguing step, a discovery point that the team itself and the fan base will find out when the Vikings do drop.
Yeah, has anyone seen him crabby yet? He just seems perpetually positive and optimistic, and it is a breath of fresh air. But coming off 8 years of mostly glass half full and surly and negative Mike Zimmer, it does feel like, okay, when's he gonna wake up on the wrong side of the bed? What's he gonna do if a player crosses him at some point?
It sounds like from what I'm told he just doesn't show it yet to us. So like I've heard that there have been times where he's not exactly Mr. Sunshine about how things are going, and he can snap internally. But I think he's incredibly aware. And by snap, I mean just get mad about things.
He's actually killed 3 people. It's crazy.
No, there's no bodies buried. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of land around TCO to bury things, okay? Like there's a lot of free land there. But we definitely have to see what his reaction is going to be when he's inevitably faced with adversity that he can't like just say, it's going to be fine. So,
I mean, put yourself in his shoes. Now, I'm told he will swear. So, piggybacking on what Judd just said, not in front of us necessarily.
Damn right he
but
swears.
he does have, a certain vocabulary when he needs to have it. But, like, put yourself in his shoes. 38 years old? Am I right on the age?
I think so. No.
Sure.
I mean, this happened relatively fast, all things considered, ascending to being a head coach. Yep. Has a beautiful house in Edina, a beautiful family. Like, there's a lot to like if you're Kevin O'Connell. So there's no reason
fence,
for him to be surly.
Tire hanging from the tree in the front yard.
So I mean, it's good times right now. But let's see. Let's revisit this in September or October.
Yeah,
37. You were very, very good.
All right, so 37. So I mean, life is really, really good for Kevin O'Connell. One other note that I forgot to mention when you said empty out your Vikings notebook, your figurative Vikings notebook. They did show some interest in Akeem Hicks early in free agency. He just signed with Tampa 1 year. I guess if he hits every incentive, he can earn up to $10 million. Maybe that's not, realistic. But Hicks did sign with the Bucs this week. It was early in free agency that the Vikings showed some interest, but it never materialized. It never got to the point of the Vikings making a formal offer.
Dukes, I'll throw this one at you, too, just to get your thoughts on it. So I have been told that the J.C. Tretter market is very slow this offseason, slower than maybe Tretter anticipated.
Is he healthy?
I think that's the question. I think
that is the question, yeah.
So I have been told if he needs to retire, he's played enough years in the league, he's made enough money. PFF had him as like the 5th best center in the NFL last year. He didn't practice a lot because of the knee problems, but he played in every game. And so I don't know. Our team's wary about the injury issues. Judd has brought up the fact that he's the NFL Players Association president and that can be a thing behind the scenes. Now, another potential fit for him. So he's looking for, money matters, but like I'm told he's looking for a team that can win, a team that can compete, playoffs, etc., that has a need at center. Well, the Vikings are on his short list. I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing San Francisco might be emerging on a short list there too, because Alex Mack is contemplating retirement, and the Niners just restructured his contract to buy themselves some more time. So the Niners might be looking for another starting center. So I don't know. I guess
heard
the question
Miami as well.
Okay. How married are the Vikings really to their center situation? Are they really going to do this with Garrett Bradbury again?
Bradbury is getting all these first-team reps, but I was told that Chris Reed, the free agent addition, Minnesota State Mankato, the former Indianapolis Colt, has that sort of flexibility where he's just not a guard. He can play center, that he was led to believe when he signed here that he would get an opportunity at some point. Now, I think that's more come training camp, not necessarily OTAs into the mandatory minicamp, but like unless I'm being led in the wrong direction, I really don't believe they've told Garrett Bradbury, you have nothing to worry about. You are promised the starting job. Can he win the starting job? Absolutely. I've been saying that for weeks. It's entirely possible. September 11th against the Packers, Garrett Bradbury is this team's starting center. But I still feel like he has to earn that come July and August.
You do get the feeling, Doogie, though, that they definitely want that. Like I don't know why, but they seem convinced that they think that he can be successful there, which I think it's not a long shot, but I think in pass protection, it's very concerning. But they're definitely O'Connell, I don't think, was lying at the combine when he basically went through chapter and verse of, we think this and that. And I don't know if it's the system, if they want Kirk to get the ball out quicker. I don't know exactly what they're thinking from a football standpoint, but there's definitely a thought process that they can make him an improved product over what the previous offensive scheme did. In watching him, that's one I struggle with.
I struggle with it too. Now, you're right. They do want Cousins to get rid of the ball quicker. But when it comes to pass protection, like think about, I keep harping on these first 2 games, but think about the interior defensive lines of the Packers and Eagles, right? Clark in Green Bay. You've got the big Georgia kid that just landed in Philly from the draft.
That's a great point.
Like think about those matchups, right? So, yeah, I still have all sorts of questions. Now, even if he had played at a somewhat higher level last year, maybe even a considerably higher level, that 5th-year option at nearly $13 million, like you can't pay a center that sort of money. So, like, to me, it was always a no-brainer to, turn down that 5th-year option.
That's why you don't draft centers in the first round, so you have to make that decision, right?
I think Judd's right, though, or whoever suggested it, that they do feel like, hey, let's salvage something. I don't know if that's driven by Jamal Stevenson, others in the front office that remain, that had a lot to do with the Vikings taking him in the first round a few years ago. But yeah, like he's getting all the 1 reps right now. It's not like anybody else is sliding in there. So the optics suggest, the access we've had, it suggests that Bradbury is the guy. But I'm just saying, let's keep an eye on it come those first couple weeks of training camp.
I also I just don't want there to be another easy excuse for Kirk Cousins and the progression of this offense. If at the end of the year you were sitting here in the same spot saying, well, see, the offense would have been better if you give Kirk Cousins a real center. So how long are we going to keep doing this? So, they better be right on it. You guys want to transition to a little Timberwolves here?
Yes. In fact, if I could start by giving our guy Darren kudos, because Tuesday's presser, guys, as we saw, to use Doog's word, was kumbaya for the most part, right? Question and answer. I'm just excited to be here. I'd like to give Doogie credit because I believe truly he asked the only question that made everyone on the stage squirm, which was the equity question, which was incredibly fair, which I still think they're beating around the bush about. But that was the only one, because Conley been there, done that, right? So, he's a very, he knows what he's doing. That was not a, oh, my God, I'm up here, and what am I going to say?
Yeah,
he knew exactly.
Conley was like, listen, this is all very complicated for me even. I'd rather just not comment.
He squirmed, though.
And then Glenn takes a half hour to figure out where the on switch is for his microphone. He's like,
don't do that.
Let me take
Although,
this
full
one.
disclosure, I think I effed up the mic. So Dave Campbell of the Associated Press hands me the mic. I just figured it was on.
No, it's
My
not.
voice carries.
Come on.
And so I just figured, ask the question. I didn't know I had to flip the mic on. So I don't know if my voice picked up on NBA TV or on Valley Sports North
for those
or
of us
WCCO
consuming
radio.
I was on Zoom, and I heard you faintly over other microphones. So.
All right, well, that's what happened because I talk so loud.
Glenn and Doogie, it's the same thing.
So it was the two of us that screwed it up.
Oh, my God.
But congratulations, because you asked the one question that I still don't think that we got a completely straight response to, and they squirmed. And it's a very good question, though. What is your involvement?
It's a bonus plan. Everyone has a bonus plan.
He does well.
Where's the on switch?
We do well.
Everybody has a bonus
let's be frank. Tim Connelly, in all likelihood, I don't know this 100%, so maybe this is a little reckless speculation, but in all likelihood, Tim Connelly is not leaving Denver, especially after they made him a new offer.
Right.
Maybe not quite $8 million a year, but they made him a new offer, right? He wasn't leaving there without this equity portion of the equation, right? So the equity got this to the finish line. So that's why I'm curious. Now, I mentioned on Twitter over the weekend, might have mentioned with you, Judd, that I had heard to check on, tied to team performance and just value of the franchise, which I guess go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But there is a rule in the NBA. So if you're a limited partner, you need to own at least 1%. But he didn't buy in. So that 1% is out the window. So we don't know exactly what he's promised. But put it this way, if the Wolves do well, the franchise value goes up.
Yeah.
He is going to benefit.
Bing bong.
Regardless, having a sliver of equity is a golden ticket. Whatever the exact details are, that is a golden ticket for Tim Connelly.
We did this exercise last week. If you look at some of the other teams, not even the championship teams, but teams in sort of those mid-level markets the Denver Nuggets, the Utah Jazz, the Milwaukee Bucks, who did win a championship. But similar, if you can go to the playoffs on a regular basis, go second, third round of the playoffs, this franchise value has another $500 million to grow if you do things right. And so if I'm Tim Connelly and I'm coming in here saying, all right, if we can get this thing to where the Nuggets are and the franchise value goes up from, $1.5 billion to $1.9 billion, I'd like a little taste of that. Just a little something.
Well, and think about at some point the push for a new arena. What exactly takes place on that front? This franchise is in better shape than the Nuggets. Like the Nuggets' local TV contract, that situation, it's a disaster. A lot of people in Denver can't even watch the Nuggets on television. So, just from a health standpoint, like he can look at this situation and say, yeah, like there are foundational pieces in place. We can grow this thing. This team can become even better in the next few years. What takes place with a new arena? Yeah, just, you combine all that. And Phil, you're right. I mean, I would even argue in 4 to 6 years above $1.9 billion. Mm-hmm. Like maybe closer to 2.1, right? And yeah, the value right now is what, 157, 156. So if it goes up $400 to $500 million, yeah, if he is guaranteed, I don't know what the number would be, $10 to $15 million of that pie, $20 million of that pie. How do you turn that down, I guess? If you're Tim Connelly, it was an offer he couldn't refuse.
You don't, yeah. So the structure is Conley, his guy Finchie. Is Gupta, do we think he's staying, dudes? Because now there seems to be this assumption of, well, he was at the press conference and Glenn was sort of consoling him, I think, at the end. So he's going to stay, which is very us.
Crying? Was he crying at the end of the press conference?
Glenn patted him on the back a few times.
It was a hug.
And
they were bonding. It wasn't consoling.
I think
Reckless consoling speculation.
Because I think he's consoling him. He's
fella.
Look, it's Glenn. I think he's consoling him because I think Glenn said, here's my guess. Glenn said, you would have been my guy, but hey, I'm sorry about that.
We've made progress. We've made progress that Glenn knows who Sachin is. Don't forget that.
Did Glenn call him son? Did Glenn call him son or fella? What are the
We don't know. We don't know.
Odds?
I'm speculating. I'm recklessly speculating on Reckless Speculation Thursday about the conversation, but Dukes and I both saw the pat. But anyway, should we assume that Gupta is staying now, or is that still a work in progress, especially since we know that Conley is out there sniffing around for a potential 2 that he knows?
Yeah, well, Connelly is definitely going to bring people in. It's when, not if. Plural, by the way, not just one person. Now, maybe more immediately it's one, but down the road, it'll be multiple. So here's what I was told. I'm glad you asked me this. It's almost like we had a pre-show meeting because I'm glad you asked me this. If you hadn't, I would have brought it up because I scribbled down a few notes. Nice. So I was told Gupta is in right now. The Wolves, I've said this for weeks, the Wolves want Gupta here for the season. Heck, for multiple seasons if they can make it work, if there's not one opportunity somewhere out there for him to be a president of some other team's front office, right? But, he's in right now. He's in for the pre-draft. He's in for the draft. He's in for free agency. So he's good for this cycle. What then happens mid-July, late July, into August, maybe when we get closer to training camp in late September? Houston would be the team to still watch. So this time last year, give or take a few weeks, he was pretty much out the door to go join the Houston Rockets as their number 2. I'm told there's still sincere interest from the Rockets in bringing Sachin Gupta on board. But right now, he has told people over there, I'm in. He's at the draft workout they had on Tuesday. He's in all these meetings. So he's there right now, Judd, but I'll keep an eye on it. I'm not ready just to declare 100% when the Wolves tip off in mid-October, Sachin Gupta will be at Target Center seated next to Tim Connelly, 10 rows up, right? A part of the front office. To be determined on that front, it's possible, but he's here. So if you're worried about, Sachin, not having his fingerprints on some trade talks heading into the draft night, the beginning of free agency when trade talks ramp up even more, Gupta's going to be here. And I think, from what I can gather, Tim Connelly, now he dodged the D'Lo question the other day.
Called him a streak scorer.
Yeah, well, yes. But otherwise, like, he comes across as very likable. Like, I don't know if you gathered that, Judd, but, him talking about, drinking beers, watching the Wolves playoff games against Memphis. But, like, I don't care what he said up there. I lean on people who know him, who have known him for a really long time. Ryan Saunders, the Saunders family, has known Tim for a long time. Tim was at Ryan Saunders' wedding. Right? So, him, Ryan McDonough, the former Suns GM, who's a friend of mine. When he was the Suns GM, Tim's brother Pat was his assistant general manager. So Ryan McDonough's known the Connelly family, Tim, Pat, others for a really long time. Like, these are people who know Tim really well. They tell me, and I don't think they'd lie to me, they tell me that Tim is this really, really good dude. Yeah. So, I know we're sick of the buzzword collaboration, but I think, for right now, there's going to be a good amount of collaboration where Tim leans on specifically Sachin for all sorts of advice the next few weeks. The draft, by the way, 3 weeks from tonight.
Wow. I do have one more Wolves question. We'll get to some other stuff here as well. But, Dex, I was watching yesterday on TNT for like 3.5 hours, 4 great quarterbacks just putting poor fans at risk 20, 30 yards off the fairways with wayward drives, the match yesterday. Yeah. But it had me pumped up to go golfing. Do you have a recommendation for where people should go golfing this summer?
Absolutely. It's the Meadows at Mystic Lake, an award-winning 18-hole public course. It offers unique, challenging, but a scenic golf experience and a full-service golf shop with top-of-the-line equipment and apparel. Also, you can get on the patio, the Meadows Bar and Grill right there. Why don't you go pour us early after you're around, or before you're around for that matter. That's what I like to do, and enjoy the nice views at the Meadows at Mystic Lake. Book your tee time now at golfthemeadows.com to learn more. It's golfthemeadows.com to learn more.
Doogie.
Solid spot.
Oh, thank
the Vikings had a charity event there.
Oh, you're okay.
4 years ago, 5 years ago. Good track.
I thought you were complimenting my read.
No,
the read was good.
That was a good read. That was
a good read. I saw the words up on the screen.
I've come a long way in my career. I was like, oh, thank you.
You read the words on the screen, but you pulled it off to the point of it didn't sound like you were reading.
Yeah,
it felt personalized.
TV guy.
Genius.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good job there, Declan. But I'm just saying, really good track.
I thought he did a good job sort of weaving in the ad lib within the words that they wanted him to read there.
I agree.
The pacing
it
felt
was a solid spot in both ways. It's a solid spot, and that was a solid spot.
It was a solid spot. Yeah. Nice
Good
work.
job.
Nice work. So how rare is it that the owner of, and in this case, the longtime owner of a franchise mostly defers to minority owners in this case to be not only the guys who spearheaded the search, they brought Tim Connelly out to Mark Lurie's New York City penthouse and got to know him, and then presumably brought him to Glenn in Mankato and said, hey, this guy wasn't on your list, but we just wined and dined him. Glenn has deferred almost all. And I know A-Rod said, listen, Glenn led the way and we followed. I don't know how much I buy that. I don't know why A-Rod had to lie in that situation other than he's just kind of a serial liar at times. But how rare is this? These guys don't even really own the team yet, and yet Glenn is giving them the keys, and I love it, to make the most important hire for the franchise.
It is a unique situation, right? Like, I'm trying to remember, when does somebody buy in but then wait a good nearly 2 years to become majority owner? Maybe it's not completely unprecedented, but like trying to jar my memory, nothing comes to mind. But yeah, I mean, Mark and Alex led the way on this. They drove the bus on this, just like they drove the bus on the Chris Finch extension. But Glenn, to his credit, said, you do your thing. I trust you. Now, is that some of Glenn just looking at mistake after mistake over the years?
Good.
Saying, hey, what I've tried hasn't worked. We've tried some different things. So I feel like I learned each and every time, but what I've tried hasn't worked. So let me defer to these guys, or hey, these guys are taking over as majority owners, until the time frame is different. We presume it's December of 23, until we're told otherwise, December of 23. So what, about 16, 17 months from now, Mark Lurie, Alex Rodriguez will become the majority owners. A decision like this, you were always going to give a multi-year deal. Heck, I was told at one point there was talk of an 8-year contract for Tim Connelly. Ends up being 5, but the 5 clearly goes into multiple years of Mark and Alex being majority owners. So I don't know exactly where Glenn's, mind was with that. I'll catch up with him at some point. I'll track him down maybe closer to the draft, and I can relive some of this. But yeah, Mark and Alex were all over this. But Glenn gave them his blessing very early. So there was correspondence with Glenn where they said, hey, we'd like to do this. And Glenn said, yeah, you do whatever you want.
All right, Dukes. Gosh, I remember, I was at the University of Minnesota as a student from 2003 through 2007, right in the heart of the Marion Barber, Lawrence Maroney, two-headed monster backfield. Barber goes on to have a really good touchdown-filled career with the Cowboys, and reports came out yesterday he passed away in his home in the Dallas area, I believe, at age 38. Just a legendary Gopher football player gone way too early here, Dukes.
Life isn't fair. I mean, he's battled demons for a while. When I say we at Channel 5 caught up with his coach at the U, Glenn Mason. Oh. Glenn was on his boat on Lake Minnetonka. Thankfully, was able to dock, got off the boat, did a quick interview with us yesterday. Glenn talked about how he, maybe more so others that know Marion, but had tried to offer help to him in recent years, and it didn't go anywhere. We don't know the cause of death quite yet, but yeah, it's as sad as it gets. You can't help but wonder about, something going on with the brain, right? Junior Seau, did something take place with all the violent collisions he had? Just one heck of a player, though. Even going back to Wayzata High School, he was a good defensive back. Glenn told us, initially he was brought upon thinking he'd play in the defensive backfield. And Marion said, no, I want to play running back. And Glenn's thinking, I've got all these other running backs, Thomas Tapay, some others. No, but sure, give it a try. And, when it fails, we'll move you back to the defensive backfield. Well, it didn't fail, right? And you're right, Phil. I mean, one of the all-time great Gophers. I mean, just look at the numbers, right? Then to have the career he had, it was short-lived. Only 7 years in the National Football League, but, those 6 years with the Dallas Cowboys, just unreal, but just, you feel just freaking horrible.
And the
for the family.
Too. Yeah. His dad was a great
Mom
player
Karen,
here.
Dad Marion, and, Thomas and Dom, the brothers, just, oh.
By the way, how hard is it? So we saw the Adam Schefter fiasco on Twitter when Dwayne Haskins died, or he made some passing reference to him being, like an underperforming player in the NFL as he's tweeting out his death. This is from ABC's Twitter account. I believe this is also, they're getting this from the Associated Press. This is the tweet they sent out. Just in, Marion Barber III, the former Dallas Cowboys running back who scored plenty of touchdowns without recording a 1,000-yard season, has died, the team said Wednesday. He was 38. Okay, how hard is it to just not refer to meaningless statistics? A human being died.
Former National Football League player died.
Former player, Cowboys. But why do we need to make some meaningless statistical contextual reference in a tweet? What are you doing?
Disgusting. Now, full context. So that tweet wasn't actually typed out by a person. It's aggregated from the story. So through WordPress, the way these stories are posted on these websites, somehow it grabbed words. So
but why
it wasn't one person who typed that, but there has to be some sort of editing system. It should filter through somebody, a social media manager, somebody who then has to approve each social media post. That's the unfortunate part, but I'm just telling you, full context, it wasn't some person, some intern or whomever there in New York City at ABC headquarters who actually typed that out.
But someone in the article clearly wrote that he had not recorded.
Yeah, I don't even know why you would write that. Agree. Yeah. I have no idea why you would write that. Who cares?
But especially with death. It needs to go through a person. It can't be like, well, he just got traded. That's fine. Aggregate that, right? You don't care about that. But if a person dies, it should always go through a set of eyes that says, we really don't need that context for this event. So, but this,
it just feels like, okay, Marion Barber died. Quick, someone tell me if his statistics rise to the level of me being sad. Who cares what his statistics?
And Schefter definitely tweeted his, and that was unbelievably insensitive.
Yeah.
Well, even many weeks later, he's still taking all sorts of heat for that. I was on Facebook last night. I'm Facebook friends with Asad Abdul Khalik just because we were at the U at the same time. Daryl Reed, former defensive lineman, just the outpouring of just, it's just,
It's too bad, man. Well, Doogie, thanks for joining us here on this Reckless Speculation Thursday. Great information as usual. And
You want me to empty out my notebook quickly?
Oh, you got another page there, yeah. Fire
Well,
away.
yeah. So the Twins play this afternoon, that series finale in Detroit. Nice to see that Buxton, Arise, Kepler are back in the lineup. Why Buxton wasn't in the lineup last night? Why did he play both games of the doubleheader 2 days ago? Then they faced a tough lefty last night. Buxton not in the lineup. Very head scratching. But as they head to Toronto, I know they'll be down at least one reliever, possibly two, but I know for sure one, an outfielder, a starter. So those are guys that are not vaccinated, can't get on that plane to fly from Detroit to Toronto. Isaiah Enan, Gophers basketball, he is officially cleared. Left knee injury, missed all of last year. Summer workouts ramp up next week for Ben Johnson's team. Peyton Willis, the former Gopher, has a workout today with the Memphis Grizzlies. Booth Gotch, the former Gopher from Austin, Minnesota, has a workout today with the Charlotte Hornets. David Roddy, Breck High School Mountain West Player of the Year from Colorado State, made it official last night. He is staying in the draft. His next workout with the Golden State Warriors. He's worked out for the Raptors, the Pacers, the Nuggets, and the Rockets. And there is a plan for him to work out for the Wolves sometime in the next 3 weeks. His draft stock will never be higher. Like, you're the Mountain West Player of the Year. Like, now is the time. He maybe could have made some money, name, image, likeness, going back to Fort Collins. But, like, this is the time to strike gold, in terms of his NBA future. So I think David Roddy made a very smart decision.
There he is. Darren Doogie Wolfson. Inside information about your favorite Minnesota sports teams. We'll see
One
you next
more,
week,
St.
dudes.
Thomas men's basketball. We are the home of St. Thomas Athletics. St. Thomas men's basketball. Love Johnny Tower. Johnny Tower loses an assistant coach. Gamali Ahalegbe leaves St. Thomas to be an assistant coach at Northern Iowa.
All right. See you, Doogs.
See you, boys. Bye-bye.
All right. Darren Doogie Wolfson on this Reckless Speculation Thursday.